the latest on the U.S. government plan to ban TikTok and Donald Trump's attempt to save it. The law signed by current President Joe Biden calls for the Chinese-owned app to be sold or shut down by January 19th. TikTok has indicated that it will shut the app down itself in the United States this Sunday. Trump is considering executive orders, however, to prevent the app from being banned when he takes office on January 20th. Well, Trump did try to ban TikTok during his first presidential term for national security reasons, but he's had a change of heart thanks to the 14 million followers that Trump has on the app, which played a big role in his election victory. The U.S. Supreme Court is currently deciding whether to uphold the law, pause it to give them more time to make a decision. So a lot is at stake, a lot of wheels moving. For more on TikTok and what a ban means, we're joined by Ray Wan. He is the founder and CEO of Constellation Research. Welcome back, Ray. Good to see you again.
Great to see you. How you doing?
Great, great. Okay, this is taking kind of a weird turn today. Kind of bring me up to speed, if you will, because the stories I've been reading, are you surprised that TikTok took the step of announcing it's going to shut itself down, barring a decision by the U.S. Supreme Court, or Trump stepping in?
You know, nothing is surprising on this TikTok battle. We thought that this was going to be ended with the Supreme Court ban on the 19th. We thought that there's a potential buyer, maybe Oracle in the back end, maybe Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, maybe even Elon Musk. All these things are possible, but the result basically is the Supreme Court didn't issue any kind of decision or any comments at all. They shut down. We didn't see anything from them. And right now it looks like on the 19th, it's all going to end. However, as you know, it's only 4 more days, and there's a lot more to this story.
Yeah, and ByteDance, of course, the parent company, the algorithm, so important. It doesn't want to just give that away, sell it, or shut it down. It wants to use it. Now, Biden made the decision back in April, saying that shutting down TikTok was a matter of national security. But 170 million Americans are poised to lose access and the ability for many of them, in many cases, to make money. What is the national security?
This really is a national security issue because there's a belief that China is listening into all the different signals. They're building profiles based on the data that's collected. But you have to look at it a different way. You have to look at it as, why doesn't China allow Google and Facebook to be used in China? If they were fine with that, then there wouldn't be a national security issue because we'd all be spying on each other and nobody would care. But the challenge is China has closed off the situation, and therefore the U.S. doesn't have any kind of social networks in place. And of course, that's really why the national security issue is being put up there.
Got it. Okay, so the U.S. Supreme Court just heard arguments recently, and even though the January deadline is rapidly approaching, 4 days, as you mentioned, the High Court may not rule for months. It could be June.
It's true, and a lot of those decisions don't get ruled out until June, and by then a new presidential term will begin. And at that point, it's probably going to be President Donald Trump's discretion to decide what to do with that, whether to challenge the ban, not to challenge the ban, and of course, or cut a deal and allow for something to happen. And there was talk, right, at some point whether Elon Musk would be the emissary of buying TikTok and being someone that they could have conversations with because they have a stake in Tesla has a stake in China. And of course, he has an ear to the president. And those would be an interesting solution. But of course, a lot of discussions are still happening in the background.
Okay, now comes the battle for a company to come in and fill the potential void. Let's talk about RedNote. People love it. It has been getting a huge boost recently. But here's a newsflash. Just like TikTok, its parent company is Chinese. Perplexing?
Not at all. And of course, there's Lemon 8, which is also the back end of ByteDance that's also being suggested, and a number of other alternatives. And of course, that's the challenge. And so the question is, if it is a national security issue all across the board, then it's probably going to apply uniformly. If it's an ACLU speech issue, where we're actually suppressing freedom of speech, then of course, it's going to apply uniformly. So this Supreme Court decision, if issued earlier than what's going to happen before the June session ends, is going to be very important.
Yeah, you make a good point, because the argument that ByteDance, TikTok has made is, look, this is free speech. Now, look at what RedNote has done in just the past week. It is growing. So do you think it's going to get the same scrutiny as ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok?
I think all these apps actually have the same potential, and there is that scrutiny. But the point really is whether the servers or the data sit in the U.S., there's data sovereignty issues. The U.S. typically doesn't enforce those as much as some other countries do. And then, of course, there's the broader issue of whether social media should be available to individuals under the age of 16. And you're going to see a lot of those discussions also surface up.
Okay, I've also read there's a real chance Red Note wants to diversify itself across many platforms. Why and what are the benefits?
Well, the benefits of doing that across many platforms means it's broader reach. It means there are different types of demographics. It means less security issues. It means better compliance as well to other government entities and localities as needed.
Okay, so look, even though TikTok announced that it's shutting the door itself, barring anything in the next few days, the door will still be open for it to return. Donald Trump, very powerful right now. If he tells Republicans, I want this, it's almost guaranteed they're going to find a way to do it.
Right. And I think that's really what the threat is. We're going to shut down on the 19th. Let's see what happens on the 20th. Maybe Trump saves TikTok and everybody is all happy. But, you know, from a national security and from a fairness perspective, I think those issues are still going to be be out there.
I'm not saying you're a betting man, but if you were, Ray, what's going to happen on the 21st? Will TikTok and its app still be available? Because the way it is now, if TikTok shuts the app down and you go to the app, you're just going to get an explainer saying, sorry, you can't use this right now.
Yeah, I would, as a betting man, I would say it's a 4-3 odds that it'll still remain.
Okay. Ray Wang, always a pleasure, my friend. Enjoy chatting with you.
Hey, take care.
Okay.